Good day, everybody. I want to start with a solemn appeal to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, death is in our land. Mr. President, Nigerians are dying. Last week, my assistant went home to Ibagwani in Enugu, Nsukka local government, and his father, Apostle James Ugu, was brutally murdered by suspected headsmen. His stepmom is in the hospital. His uncle is in the hospital in intensive care. And they are just 3 of the 591 people that died in the month of April. As April ended yesterday, SBM intelligence recorded 591 deaths. And the deaths, interestingly, 127 of them occurred in Benue State, and about 86 in Zamfara, and 85 in Borno. We have an average of 17 deaths per state across Nigeria in the month of April, and May is not looking good. So, just in case, Mr. President, the Inspector General, the DGSSS are watching this, I want to passionately appeal. Mr. President, please speak to Nigerians. Mr. President, please save our lives. And for those who are orchestrating the violence, especially the famous unknown gunmen in the East, I want to sound a note of caution. You can start it, but you can't end it. The East is a very entrepreneurial place. In 1966, there were no retired officers of the Nigerian Army as we have today, no retired policemen. Violence will start and cannot be stopped. No group can control it if we destroy the facility of state. Breakaway groups will happen. People will take to the arms themselves. Kidnapping will rise. Criminality will rise. And no group can control it without the function of the state. Our road to Syria is already paved with the mismanagement of our diversity by the current APC administration and the President. Mr. President, save our lives. Thank you very much. And I want to say that as we mourn the deaths in Nigeria, the conversation here today is about, is devolution the solution? And I have listened to the very brilliant and eminent people who have spoken here. But I just want to add a certain dimension, just to be sure that we understand the terms we use. And devolution really occurs in unitary system of government. In unitary system of government, the federal central government can devolve its powers to the constituent unit and can withdraw it. In a federal system of government, the powers of the subnational government are guaranteed by the Constitution. So we have the exclusive list, the concurrent list, and the residual list. So the federal government cannot take away the rights given to the states by the Constitution. So when we use the word devolution, and I'm sure many people understand in the context of Nigeria, we are talking about decentralization. My point is that that is not the problem with Nigeria. Our Constitution makes it clear the powers of the federal government. Nigerians love the 1963 Constitution. Everybody says, let's go back to the 1963 Constitution. If you go to the 1963 Constitution, the exclusive list were 45 items. Exclusive list was 45 items in the 1963 Constitution. And the concurrent list was about 28 or 29 items. If you come back to the 1999 Constitution, the exclusive list is now 68 items. And what really changed is not that the powers in the concurrent were taken over to the exclusive. It's just that certain other items were added. Instead of just the military, they added the army, the navy. Instead of just, they added census, they added certain controls that were given to the states, that were given to the federal government. So some of these include fingerprints used to be in the concurrent list, but they now moved to the exclusive legislative list. But really, if you look at the 1963 Constitution, the issues like creation of states was not there, copyright, coinage. So the 68 items that came to the exclusive list are not really the problem with Nigeria. Where the problem lies in the concurrent list. The concurrent list allowed the federal government to meddle into the affairs of the states. So we have to make up our mind what we want. Why should the federal government run a secondary school in Ohafia called Federal Government College? Why should the federal government run a university? There's no business. Ahmadu Bello was set up by the Northern Regional Government, Ife by the Western Regional Government, Nsukka by the Eastern Regional Government. Why has the federal government intruded over time? A big bureaucracy has emerged in the federal government that has inched in on the powers of the state. Those items that allow us to function as individuals decisions are now being taken in Abuja, including maintenance of federal highways. Why should the federal government do that? I used to be in the Ministry of Works as an assistant to a minister. And every year we have this budget for maintenance of roads, including maintenance of Obosi bypass. So somebody in Abuja who has never been to Anambra, who doesn't know where Obosi is taking a decision about how to maintain Obosi bypass because it has been called a federal trunk road. So I think that Nigerians should get these facts clear. The more important fact is that, and my senior brother Lisa Bokoma made that point, our state governments have abdicated responsibility. They have totally abdicated responsibility. The Constitution gave them rights, gave them powers on what they can do. But the state governments have turned into, I don't want to use bad language today, because I've been cautioning young people against foul language, but it's almost like a mafia family, where the leader of the capo regimes are there and the leader of the family will determine who gets what and shares it according to how he feels. So they don't want any scrutiny. They've taken over the powers of the local government. All over the world, local governments have universities. They build community colleges. They manage secondary schools. They manage school systems. There is no business the federal government has in building Federal Medical Center, Umuahia. So the Ministry of Health, if you take out the budget of the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Works, which is another aberration. Ministry of Works is the only ministry in Nigeria where the ministry is an executive agency. Ministries are usually coordinating agencies. You have federal agencies that are working under the minister. So as Minister of Aviation, I had FAN, I had NAMA, I had NCAA. But as Minister of Works, he's actually the one awarding contracts. No Minister of Works have agreed to a federal highway agency. They've all opposed it because the federal bureaucracy has grown. The civil servants in Abuja are the richest civil servants in the world. They own the choicest properties in Nigeria because the federal bureaucracy has so much to share. So if you take out the monies from these concurrent issues and return it to the states, let's be bold. President Babangida did it in Nigeria. He decided that Nigeria has no business running companies. So he started the privatization, the TCPC. That was a major restructuring of Nigeria. He restructured Nigeria away from government-led businesses to private individuals. That's why today we have Guaranty Trust Bank that have almost more than 2 trillion in assets. We have UBA, we have Union Bank. They used to be federal government entities, but we sold them to private entrepreneurs. And other private people were allowed to open their own. There are now 100 federal universities in Nigeria. Please give away these federal universities to the states. That's how they will develop capacity. That's how they can employ quality manpower. Return the money to where it is. The federal government has no business running the bureaucracy that is running in Abuja. And the state governments are busy frowning, asking, we want Federal Medical Center in our place. We want university in our state. We want federal presence. Nobody gives you federal presence in your place. The federal presence is created by the states. So when we talk about devolution, we have constitutionally guaranteed powers of the federal government and states. One of the areas of confusion is on the births and death registry. It is in the exclusive list and it is in the residual list in the local government functions. But let us take that function, births and death registry. Who knows of any local government here that has a digital platform to register death or birth? This is a function that is delegated, that is constitutionally guaranteed for local governments. Which local government in Nigeria, minus Yewa local government in Ogun State, which local government has a website where you can go and pay your local government fees? Which local government have a website where you can see the budget of the local government or the expenditure from the local government? This is just a scam. There is no such thing as devolution. It's a scam. The people quarreling with Nigeria who talks about 1963 constitution, I keep reminding them. In the 1964 election, the Eastern region boycotted the election. 54 seats were in question, Lagos and East, because in the West, Action Group couldn't mobilize a boycott. So Akintola's party, the NDDP, won most of the seats in the West. But guess what? Because of the way the country was formed, majority of the legislators were elected. 5 days after prevarication, Zik went ahead and called Tafawa Balewa to form a government. So the boycott of an election by a whole region has happened before in Nigeria. And what happened? A government was formed. Not only was a government formed, 3 months later in March, the election in the southeast was now, in the eastern region, was now conducted. After the election, as Tafawa Balewa was taking office, he promised 2 things. He was going to form a broad-based government, and he was going to call for constitutional reforms. So it's not been today we've been looking for constitutional reforms. The 1963 Constitution created its own problems. That there was an administrator in the West, in the Western regional government. The federal government could appoint an administrator. That is why the 1999 Constitution says no other way to rule any part of Nigeria or the federal government except as prescribed by this Constitution. So we have made tremendous progress. Demonizing constitutions is not going to help us. We just have to live the dreams and aspirations of our generation. Every time we want to talk about structure, I said, we've been discussing it since 1999. And my niece, who was born in 1999, she was born the same day I was born, she's now 22. And we're still discussing. She's gone through primary school and secondary school. The primary school in our village is not working, so she had to go to a private school. The secondary school is not working. So while we're discussing structure, a pillaging of our national assets is going on at the local government and at the state level. So I want to put on record, I'm one of those who do not agree with that argument of the structure. Tell me what you want removed from the exclusive list and brought to the concurrent list. Name them. Do you want defense brought to the concurrent list? Do you want fingerprints and intelligence brought to the concurrent list? Do you want arms and ammunition brought to the concurrent list? Specify it. Because people have just been saying things that are not founded on facts. The 1963 Constitution was a problematic constitution. That's why the military opted for presidential system of government. So I want to finalize that one of the major devolution of powers we have in Nigeria is the devolution of power to the Federal Capital Territory, where the National Assembly will make laws for the Federal Capital Territory, where the president gives his power to the minister of the FCT. That's a devolution of power. Our powers of our states are guaranteed. So the states have no business going to Abuja except to collect their allocation. So if they want to set up universities, they are at liberty. If they want to set up medical health centers and attract doctors from around the world, they are at liberty. What is holding them back is work avoidance. Yes, our state governments are avoiding work. And we, the people, have been deceived that the problem is in Abuja. No, the problem is not in Abuja. The problem is in our states. It's work avoidance. That's what's happening. The president is doing work avoidance. He's not ready to do the work of a president. The state governments are doing work avoidance. So if we cure ourselves of work avoidance and stop giving excuses, we can actually build a Nigeria where no man is oppressed. We can actually build a Nigeria capable of unleashing our energies. That is why I'm of the theory that 2 Nigerias have emerged. There is Niger, where Flutterwave is, where Paystack is selling for 200 million, where Davido is, where Nollywood is. Nigeria is going on. Ignorance of Nigeria. The young people have disconnected from Nigeria. So what we're looking for is, let us take the spirit of Niger and infuse it into Nigeria. Nigeria has failed. Young people should not sit at home and wait for any reform. The reform is a scam. The Russian example has been told. New people, the same people will capture that state. The same people will use those instruments to make sure that they accentuate their powers and entrench themselves. So what we need is to take the spirit of Niger, that space where we have freedom, where there is no federal character, that space when we don't know tribes and tongue, that space when we are discussing about how to make the next IT business, that space where we are discussing how to get the new innovation. That Niger space is real. The market is big. The 200 million Nigerians attract the whole world. Everybody is looking how to fund business in Nigeria because there is manpower, there is land. We need to secure Nigeria to make it possible for us to infuse Niger. So my thesis today is that it is time for Niger to take over Nigeria. And that time is now. That time is now. So if anybody comes to tell you about the structure, I tell them, well, structural issues are important, but culture is more important. Culture is more important than structure. That's what President Trump taught us in America. Despite all the structures, a culture of white supremacy reared its head in the United States. A culture of storming the the Congress, where people went to the Congress to storm the Congress, something that is unimaginable, unthinkable to any American, happened in the United States of America. That is the way I tell you that culture is superior to structure. The Black Lives Movement have been able to push the world to listen to the story of the black people, and we have seen a government in America that reflects the diversity of America. We want a government that reflects the diversity of Nigeria. The average age of Nigerians is 18. And what is the average age of our cabinet? Our cabinet does not reflect Nigeria. They cannot understand paystack. They cannot understand flutterwave. They cannot understand Kobo 360. They don't know how to tax them. The tax authorities are taxing their revenues because they think that all the money received by Kobo 360 is revenue. No, it is money they are receiving as an aggregator. So we need young people like you to be the chairman of the FIRS. That's what we need. We need people who understand that importing materials into Nigeria. I have a young friend who imports raw materials to make office staple equipment like sellotapes. He pays 10% on the HS code to import the raw materials. He employs 28 people to build these things in his factory. But the Indians and the Chinese in Nigeria are importing finished products and paying 10%, same 10% on the importation. And what do? They stock up Nigeria and then supply Benin Republic and then supply all the other parts of Africa because there is no incentive for the Nigerian. We should do away with the HS code, with that tariff on importing raw materials so that we can create jobs in Nigeria. But they don't understand it. We can't help them. The president cannot understand it. The APC government does not understand it. They are too old to understand it. What they understand is borrowing money from the central bank. So we need to unlock Niger. We need to unlock it. And to unlock it is our task, it's our responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the structuralists. They are deceiving us to make us keep looking at that day when we will change our constitution and El Dorado will come. No, they are planning how they will take over in that new El Dorado. They are not planning for me and you. So the time is now for us to unlock Niger, for us to bring about that change that reflects the diversity of Nigeria, the beauty of our country, the consensus we've reached, the federal character principle we brought to take the North along with us when they said they had no manpower for independence. When they said their people cannot get to university, we made them educationally disadvantaged states. Now they are saying that democracy is government of the majority because they have the majority. That is not the spirit of Nigeria. No, that's not the spirit of Nigeria. The spirit of Nigeria is compromise. Because there is nowhere in the world today where multi-ethnic nations are living together. It's becoming out of style. People are breaking. But the only multi-ethnic societies like the United Kingdom and Switzerland that live together by consensus. They live together by powers at the local level, an agreement that every year the cantons of Switzerland rotate the presidency of Switzerland among the cantons. That's how Switzerland functions. Because multi-ethnic societies have gone out of style. But Nigeria is an example that can possibly work. But if we don't, and I say it seriously, if we don't unlock Nigeria now and put in place that structure of compromise, then I fear for the future of the country. Thank you very much.
The platform is powered by the Covenant Nation.
Chief Osita, thank you for the wonderful speech. So you spoke about Niger taking over. And you know, when Dr. Agbakova spoke, he spoke about Youth 1 and Youth 2. But you know, as they say in the corporate world, they say culture always eats strategy for dinner. Now, during NSAS, Nigeria ate Niger for dinner. So, how does Niger tap into the potentials of Nigeria to get into power?
Oh, very interesting question. First thing is that NSAS was not eaten. NSAS sowed a seed. And that seed is germinating. It's a tree. It's a marathon. It's not a dash. Anybody who expected that you go out on the streets in 4 days and you remove the old order, then the person must be joking. What has happened is that a seed has been sown. Nigerians have just realized that they have a new power. So there is going to be multiple strategies. I mean, you saw how long it took the Black Lives Movement to get to where they are today. It even took the death of George Floyd to bring it, graphically to everybody, what the Black Lives Movement stands for. So what the NSAS stands for is going to become more clear as we progress in our journey to nationhood. So NSAS has not been eaten. It has only been planted. And what is happening is that the people who are holding Nigeria down are going to be watering the seeds of Niger. Because Niger has diverged. The young people in Nigeria have disconnected. I can talk about the Southeast where I come from. The young people in the Southeast have emotionally disconnected from Nigeria. Those who have passport possibilities have moved to Canada. Those who don't have joined the Biafra movement. And those who are in business have just focused on their life. They've moved on. But it is important for a country to not only have citizens, but to have engaged citizens. That's the most important thing for any country. Anytime your citizens have kind of deactivated or become distant from the country, it's a major, major setback for that country. It loses all its potentials. Its police force cannot work as usual. Its military will not be willing to go to war. People will not be willing to take risks for the country, which is what is happening today in our country.
Thank you. Now, you've been a member of the PDP for a long time. The job of the opposition is to bring to the notice of the citizenry what the ruling party is not doing very well. Do you think the PDP is playing its role as an opposition party very well? I recall when the PDP was in power, a governor of the APC was asked, why are you guys saying all this? He said, that is the job of the opposition. If the opposition does not speak, do we expect them to praise us? So do you think the PDP is doing its job well as an opposition, or actually waiting for the populace to do their job for them?
Well, I've discussed this in another forum, and I said, PDP cannot be a rabble-rousing opposition like the APC, because we have the benefit of having run a government, and we know the intricacies of governance. We also have, from the day we were formed, we became a ruling party. From 1998, by 1999, we were a ruling party, and we ruled for 16 years. So that mindless agitation that you have from the APC, that senseless propaganda and hate-filled antagonism that we saw from APC has even come to swallow the government now, because now they're in government. They said there was no subsidy. Now they're sending trillions of money. They said there's no money for the month of May because we've used it for subsidy. That's how an irresponsible opposition behaves. So PDP cannot go ahead and tell Nigerians, oh, we will restore the subsidy when we come to government. No, but we're telling Nigerians, APC has failed Nigerians. They have not managed our diversity well. They have not managed our economy well. I mean, you want to build a rail line from Kano to Niger Republic, And the studies show you that the $1.9 billion you're borrowing cannot be paid off with the Kanu Maradi line. Then the government said, oh, when we build the Lagos-Kanu line, it will be a feeder line to that, so we can transport goods from our port to Niger. But when I looked at the government plan for Lagos, Kaduna, they've just done Lagos-Ibadan axis. If you look at their timeline, it will take 19 years to complete the Lagos-Kanu rail line. And if they build all the sections concurrently, it will take minimum of 7 years. So why are you in a hurry to build Niger? Why are you in a hurry to build from Kanu to Niger when the dependency hasn't been built? Why are we not talking about expanding our road network? Why are we not borrowing 1.9 trillion, which will pay for the dualization of Lagos to Kanu? It will pay for the dualization of from 9th Mile, Obola, for Makurdi, all the way to Akwanga Jos. Why are we not doing that? So this government has been very poor in managing our economy. They've been very poor, but the PDP, as you said, has its own, what I call, his DNA is part of his problem. But I must assure you that in the National Assembly, amongst the governors of PDP have been speaking out. Governor Wike has been in the forefront of calling out the APC. We have the National Assembly, Chief Abaribe, has been in the forefront of calling out this government. And been in the forefront of calling out this government, and we'll keep calling them out. Like today, I had to plead with the president, do something. Nigerians are dying. 519 deaths in the month of April is tragic. Okay. Very tragic.
So the next question, you spoke about the federal government has no business doing some things. You gave an example, running universities, federal government colleges. And so the question I want to ask you is, the states today, they don't even seem to have enough money to shoulder the responsibilities that they have. Some people are owing salaries, some people are not remitting pensions. There's a revenue challenge.
Yes.
If they're given these additional responsibilities, number one, how will it be funded?
Yes.
Number two, which I'm going to add into a political question, is given that in the country today, when the APC wanted to contest in 2015, they were presenting Governor Fashola as the poster boy for performance.
Yes.
In 2023, who is the PDP going to present as a poster boy for performance?
Good. So, I'm going to answer you in twofold. The first one is, so let's take the functions to the states and transfer the relevant part of the funding of the federal government, that 52%, we need to cut it down. With removal of all this, the money should go to the states. And the states themselves should begin to figure out, and the federal government should be ready to backstop some things, like a federal scholarship system. Our universities can charge a little more than they are charging now if the states manage them, and then the federal government can back it up with a federal scholarship scheme. So if you don't have the resources, if your parents are tax-paying parents, then you are equal to students' loan, grants from the universities to attract people. So my point is the health budget, the education budget, most of the budgets of those concurrent issues, water resources, all of this should be excluded from the federal government and sent to the states. And the federal government will have a regulatory power over some of these to make sure standards are maintained, to make sure that the states are functioning. So it's not just a matter of transferring the powers, stopping this by the federal government. The federal government will divest. They will even make money if they want the private sector to buy them. They will make money from selling off all of these assets, and then the states will get the concurrent part of those revenues, the same part of those revenues going for them. So if you think about delivery, I'll tell you one. Governor Okowa is the governor of Delta State. Delta State has been the hotbed of ethnic violence and strife. This is now 6 years of Governor Okowa. Delta has been calm. Delta has expanded its infrastructure. Delta has expanded some of the best medical facilities we have in Nigeria today is happening in Delta State. You need to go to Asaba and see how the Urobo, the Soko, the Ishekiris, and the Igbos are living peacefully by careful management of diversity. That's an example we want to export to Nigeria. If you go to River State, the infrastructural development is incomparable. Despite Governor Wike's regular outbursts, and some people will complain about his choice of words, but he has shown capacity to deliver on the mandate of governance. If you go to what is happening in many other PDP states, Akwa Ibom, for instance, the governor of Akwa Ibom has floated an airline Ibom Air is now the airline of choice. People now travel because Ibom Air flies on time. This is PDP for you. We have managed diversity. We have managed the government of the states we are running. Most of the states in Nigeria that are not performing well, that can't pay salaries, are APC states. And that's very sad.
So thank you very much, Chief Osita Chidoka. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.